The restaurant fell completely silent. A tray slipped from a waiter's hands, crystal glasses rattled against polished tables. Every eye turned toward the entrance. An elderly man stepped inside surrounded by several well-dressed relatives and security personnel. He walked slowly with a wooden cane, his silver hair neatly combed, his expression calm but commanding. The young waitress at the front looked nervous. It was only her second week on the job, her manager whispered, just smile and seat them. Instead, the shy waitress took one careful step forward, gently placed her hand over her heart, and greeted the elderly man in an old Sicilian dialect her grandmother had taught her as a child. Welcome. May your family always find peace wherever your journey takes you. The old man's eyes widened. He stopped walking, his cane trembled slightly. The entire restaurant became so quiet that no one dared breathe. Then, tears slowly filled the old man's eyes. Before we continue, if you believe kindness and respect can cross every language and every generation, please like this video. Leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who believes culture should always be honored, and subscribe to the Kindness Legacy for more unforgettable stories that prove compassion changes lives. The waitress's name was Isabella Romano. She was 23 years old, quiet, hardworking, always the first employee to arrive and the last to leave. Few people knew that Isabella had been raised by her grandmother after losing her parents at a young age. Her grandmother had emigrated from a small village in Sicily decades earlier. Every evening she taught Isabella traditional expressions, family recipes, and one lesson she repeated more than anything else. Never greet someone with only words. Greet them with respect. Although Isabella understood the old dialect, she had never spoken it. Outside her grandmother's home, she never imagined she would use it again, especially not that evening. The elderly gentleman smiled gently. You learned those words from someone who loved you. Isabella nodded. My grandmother. The old man closed his eyes for a moment. My mother used to greet me exactly that way. The room remained silent, family members exchanged surprised glances, even the restaurant manager looked confused. The elderly man thanked Isabella and allowed her to guide the family to their private dining room. Throughout dinner she served them quietly. She remembered every detail, fresh bread before they asked, warm tea exactly when the elderly gentleman finished his soup. She noticed he struggled slightly reaching his water glass and gently moved it closer without making him feel embarrassed. She never interrupted conversations, never tried to impress anyone, she simply paid attention. When dessert arrived, the elderly gentleman asked Isabella to sit for just 1 minute. She hesitated. I'm working, sir. He smiled. Then consider this part of your work. The manager nodded in agreement. Isabella sat carefully. The gentleman asked, why do you still remember a dialect that so few young people speak? She smiled. Because my grandmother said that when a language disappears, part of someone's heart disappears with it. The elderly man lowered his head. For several seconds he couldn't speak. Finally he whispered, your grandmother was very wise. As the family prepared to leave, the gentleman stood slowly with his cane. He thanked every member of the restaurant staff individually. Then he turned toward the manager. You have many good employees. But this young woman. He smiled at Isabella. She made an old man feel like he had gone home. The following week something unexpected happened. The restaurant began receiving reservations from families throughout the city, not because of advertisements, not because of famous guests. People simply kept hearing about the young waitress who treated everyone like family. Business doubled, then tripled. The owner expanded the restaurant. New employees were hired. When asked what had changed, customers gave the same answer. The food is wonderful. But kindness is what keeps bringing us back. Months later the elderly gentleman returned, this time carrying a small wooden box. Inside was an old family cookbook handwritten nearly 80 years earlier. My mother wrote these recipes. I want someone who understands their meaning to have them. Isabella carefully accepted the gift with tears in her eyes. Years later she opened her own neighborhood restaurant. Every new employee received the same lesson on their first day. People may forget what they ordered. They may forget how expensive the meal was. But they'll never forget how you made them feel. Above the entrance she placed a simple wooden sign inspired by her grandmother's words, welcome everyone like family. Visitors came from around the world, many arrived because they had heard about the recipes, they returned because they experienced kindness. If this story touched your heart, please write, "Kindness speaks every language," in the comments. We'd love to hear from every member of the Kindness Legacy family. Sometimes, the most powerful words aren't the loudest, they're the ones spoken with sincerity, and sometimes one respectful greeting can remind someone of home after a lifetime away. If this story inspired you, please like this video, share it with someone who believes kindness has no language barrier, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the Kindness Legacy for more heartwarming stories where respect, compassion, and humanity change lives forever.